4 says find the slope, x-intercept, and y-intercept. So again, we need to pay attention to what form it's in. It's in standard form because the x and y are on the same side of the equal sign. So it's easiest to start by finding the x and y-intercept. Again, if I'm going to find the x-intercept, then basically I'm going to put in 0 for y. If I put in 0 for y, 5 times 0 is 0, and I'm left with 3x equals 30, divide by 3, x equals 10. So the x-intercept is 10. The y-intercept, I put in 0 for x. Well, if I do that, 3 times 0 is 0. So then I'm just left with 5y equals 30, divide by 5, y equals 6. So the y-intercept is 6. Now to find the slope, we need to take it from standard form and put it to slope-intercept form. If you remember, if I want to get the y by itself, I need to move this 3x to the other side of the equal sign. So I bring down the 5y, and since I'm changing the side of the 3x, I've got to change the sign, so it's going to become a negative 3x plus 30, and then divide everything by 5 to get y by itself. So that gives me y equals negative 3/5 x plus 6. So now that the y is by itself, it's in slope-intercept form, and the slope is the number in front of x, so it would be negative 3/5. Five says solve the system using substitution. So again, in substitution, we're looking for a variable that's completely by itself on one side. In this case, you have the y. So once I find the variable that's by itself, I'm going to take what it equals, which in this case is negative 2x minus 1, and substitute for it in the other equation. So in other words, I'm going to have x plus 3, well, y is negative 2x minus 1 equals 7, and then work it out like an equation. So that gives me x, I distribute the 3, so minus 3 times negative 2x is negative 6x, and then 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 equals 7. Then we're going to combine our like terms, so this is like 1x minus 6x, which is negative 5x, minus 3 equals 7. Add 3 to both sides, negative 5x equals 10, divide by negative 5, and you get x equals negative 2. Now it's a system of equations, so I need to find both x and y. So I go back to the equation I used for substituting, y equals negative 2x minus 1, and now I put in negative 2 for x. So y would equal negative 2 times negative 2 minus 1. Well, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, minus 1 is 3. And once we find both, we write our answer as an ordered pair. The x coordinate comes first, so negative 2, comma 3. Number 6 says a student bought 5 boxes of pencils and 3 boxes of pens for $30. He then bought 2 boxes of pencils and 6 boxes of pens for $36. Find the cost of each box of pencil and each box of pens. Use x, use x for the price of the boxes of pencils and y for the prices of boxes of pens. So if you look at this, we got 5 boxes of pencils, 3 boxes of pens for $30. We're using x for pencils, y for pens. So one equation would be 5x plus 3y equals 30. The other equation, 2 boxes of pencils, so 2x, 6 boxes of pens plus 6y equals 36. So that's your equations, if they told you just to write the equations that you would use. So now I'm going to rewrite them so I don't show work on those lines. Now on these you got to make sure you answer what they want. So we want to find the cost of each box of pencils and each box of pens. So we're going to have to find both variables anyway. So we're going to do this by elimination, so we can either eliminate the x's or the y's. Remember, to eliminate we need the opposite numbers. So it's easy to look at and say, well, 2 doesn't go into 5 evenly, so it may not be a good idea to try to eliminate the x's. But 3 goes into 6. In order to use elimination, we could need to make it opposite. So if I can make this a negative 6y, it would cancel. So in order to make the 3y a negative 6y, I can multiply the top by negative 2. So the top equation now becomes negative 10x minus 6y equals negative 60. And the bottom equation stayed the same, 2x plus 6y equals 36. Now if I add these two equations together, the y's are going to drop out. So negative 10 and 2 is negative 8x. Negative 60 and 36 is negative 24. Divide by negative 8. X equals 3. And again, 3 is going to be the number of, the price of the pencil boxes. Now I just need to take it and plug it back in to find y. And again, I can use either equation. I'm just going to pick the top equation. So the top equation is 5x plus 3y equals 30. Well, I know x is 3. So 5 times 3 plus 3y equals 30. So it's 15 plus 3y equals 30. Subtract 15 from both sides. 3y equals 15. Divide by 3. Y equals 5. Now in this case you don't need to write it as an ordered pair because we're actually finding two different real life examples here. So the price of the pencils is X, so that would be $3. And the price of the pens, which is Y, would be $5.